Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the biggest stars and some of my favourite people. And one of the biggest stars in the world has to be Merrill Osmond. How are you?
Bless your heart.
You know, it's so lovely to see you. And when I get to talk to you and your brothers, I pinch myself because you are legends, you are icons, and you did change the music industry. You do know that, don't you?
Well, that's sort of a humbling thing to hear, you know, because it's what I've always done ever since I was 4 years old. I was on that stage and performing the kind of songs and the harmonies and stuff like that. So thank you.
I last spoke to your sister Marie just in the summer, along with your brother Donnie, who's here touring as well. Jimmy was here just a couple of months ago. You were all together for the Christmas show. We love you, possibly more than the Americans. It's funny, isn't it? The fans here are obsessed with you.
It is truly a phenomenon. You know, if you'd have told me 15, 20 years ago that the bass here in Europe would still be basically what it was back in the 70s. He said maybe more grown up a little bit maybe. I would have told you were crazy, but it's true. Here, you guys love the Osmonds, and we are so humbled and grateful for that. It's been amazing.
I think what it is, though, the good songs never get old, and you've got some classics. We're hearing a reimagined version of Love Me For A Reason, which you just did with G4. It must be great for you to still be wanted, to still be relevant, and to still be present, because people still want to hear you sing.
It's truly an amazing thing. With G4, I've worked with Jonathan a few times, and when he asked me to perform that song with him, I immediately jumped and said yes, because not only are they an amazing act, but they're good people. And the fact they still want an old guy like me on stage with him, I thought that was pretty cool.
But there's also an immense respect. It's not about getting the guy in from the Osmonds. It's the fact they know you're a great singer and they care about you and they love you, as do your fans. Again, you can't buy that. Only time can tell that story. And not many survive, do they?
They actually don't. I mean, I've watched the industry grow, and I've watched individuals come and go. And I don't really know what the attraction for the Osmonds have been. But we're not plastic. We're not phony. We are what we are. And the people have stayed with us all of these years. And it's just, like I say, humbling.
I always ask the same question to any of you when I get to speak. What is it like when you're all together in a room? You must be looking around going, oh my God, that's Donny Osmond, that's Marie, that's Jimmy. They're my brother and sisters.
That's truly amazing. I don't know if I see it quite that way. I just see them as my little brother, my little sister. But it is truly amazing to sit back and watch what the two of them have done. Like they're in Vegas right now. Their show's #1 in Vegas. And Donnie continues to do his thing, and Marie does her thing. And the brothers still do their thing in their own little way. So to be in a circle in a room full of Osmonds is an interesting thing, because we're all perfectionists. We grew up having almost perfection seared in our brains, and so to deal with the Osmonds is to deal with almost a computer, because we're all like thinking out of the box all the time. It's quite interesting.
And then we look at that perfection and it can roll over into obsession and become negative. I know Donnie talks about there were times he couldn't go on stage. Did you ever cross over into the fear of the stage, or was it always exciting?
It's interesting you'd say that. You know, I was talking to Donnie last night, and we were talking about the stage and those things. I suffer right now. I'm 63 years old, and I've suffered my whole life with anxiety, which then moves into depression. Donnie suffers with the same thing. So yeah, I mean, I've crossed over into some paths where I don't even want to go or remember. But I don't know what causes all of that to happen, but it does. It's something in the Osmonds' DNA that is there for some reason.
Can you see it coming when the black cloud is sort of coming over the horizon towards you now, or does it just appear and then there's nothing you can do?
In my case, I see it coming, and when it hits me, I go into a state of almost it's dark. For me, depression is something that is different for different people, but combined with anxiety, it's a very hellish feeling to be in. And for me, I've always been able to work through it because I've been able to see the end. I always know an end will be there.
Does the love of the audience and the pressure of being amazing add to the negativity, or does it help get out of it? Because walking on that stage, there's such an expectation, isn't there? Because you're Merrill Osmond.
Yes, you've hit on another thing. Being a perfectionist, there has to be a beginning and a middle and an ending. And the ending is critical because that's the last thing they'll remember. And so just think about the anxiety, depression aspect of that with the level of perfectionism. It's a very, very difficult thing when people expect so much from you. But I don't know. It's something that you keep going on, whether you like it or not, because you know what? We believe there's a reason for everything. There's a reason why I have the issues that I have, because overcoming them in the end will be the greatest thing I'll ever remember.
And does it get any easier the older you get, or does the pressure increase because you feel you have to prove yourself more?
That's fascinating too. I feel the pressure intensifying. Now, I think that might be the case because when I'm getting a little bit older in my days, my memory isn't quite as great, but I know I have to sing my songs and I have to remember my words. So I feel more pressure, more anxiety. And the day will come, I mean, rest assured that I will finally hang up the suit. But I don't feel it's yet. I feel there's many, many more years left in me.
Well, I just saw you tonight, and you're singing as well as you ever done. In fact, I think there's a richness and a timbre to your voice which is glorious. And we love to hear you singing these songs. When you look back at those old videos in the Andy Williams days, I wonder what it looks like to you, because you must see yourself as that guy, because I mean, it's your life. To us, it's memories and everything else. But it was Andy Williams, and he made you. He made you as a group, and he's the reason we're probably talking today.
Isn't that the truth? You know, I was telling you a little earlier that when Andy first discovered us, it was actually Walt Disney that discovered us, but then Andy Williams' father saw us and reminded him of the Williams brothers, and then he introduced us to Andy. But for me, I was scared of Andy from the very beginning, because he was Andy Williams. You know, he was the man. He was our boss. And every week when we were on his show, again with that perfectionism, wanting to do the best we possibly could to please Andy, it was something that I was fearful not pleasing him for. So, and now he's gone, and his legacy is what it is, and he was the best. There'll never be another Andy Williams.
Do you think you're a good singer?
I don't know. Obviously, I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I am or not. I know I can hit my notes when I need to, and I think I have some kind of a sense of the drama maybe behind it all, but I don't know if I'm a great singer or not.
It's interesting. I'm fascinated by the psychology of what you do, because to us, there is no better singer, because you're Merrill Osmond. I saw you in Nottingham with that wonderful rock orchestra and your brothers, Jimmy, and the guys just a couple of years ago. And I mean, it's a rock concert what you do, isn't it? People forget that. I think they sometimes think the Osmonds are nice, but I mean, you're a proper rock and roll group.
Well, especially when Crazy Horse came on the scene, you know.
I love the fire guitar.
That sort of fired up the bass a little bit when that song came online. But, you know, bless your heart. I mean, working with the guys over the years, with the harmony especially, has been a real treat, because the harmony is the basis to a lot of chords and stuff like that. But yeah, you know, rock and roll. I mean, I'm the rocker, I guess, of the bunch. My voice has been on a lot of the hit records as lead soloist. But when it comes to rock and roll music, I have a new tour coming out. I'm all by myself. It's a rock tour. So when it comes to that kind of stuff, you can count me in on everything.
Was there ever a competitiveness between you and your brothers and sisters? Because you've all got your own thing, you all do what you do, but you're all in an industry where you're trying to sell tickets. I'm amazed by how humble you all are and how nice you are about it, because it is show business, isn't it?
It is. You know, I couldn't think of a worse business to be in if you're in a family, though, because just for the obvious reasons, like you just said, everybody's got to sell a ticket. Everybody's got to get their PR in. Everybody's got to have something. And that's a competitive world out there. So high-fi, I guess, to all the Osmonds for having hang in there, because at times it's been somewhat difficult, because you're out there all by yourself trying to do something, and somebody's running over you that has the same teeth. Yeah. You know. So yeah, I mean, but it's again, it's been what it is. We've enjoyed it.
And when I see Donnie particularly tweet those pictures when you're all together, there's about 4,000 of you now, isn't there?
There are. I don't know how many Osmonds there are, but there are so many coming online. Man, I'm a grandpa now myself. I've got 15 grandkids and more on the way. So we love kids.
It's stupid question time, but I guess your legacy will be defined by your family and not your music, because that's going to be the thing that's always going to keep you grounded. They're always going to be with you, whether the stage is or not.
That is so correct. I mean, there is nothing in the world to me like family. When things get rough, they're always there with you. For me, I mean, I guess family will always be the thing that will create the never-ending future of what it is that was created from the beginning of time. And so, I'm a family man. I'll always be, and grateful for everything that I have.
What a fabulous legacy. And when we look back on your life, aside from family, what is the moment you're most proud of, most excited by, and wish you could relive?
You know, I have so many of those moments, but I've got to say probably the moment that we appeared on the Royal Albert Hall is when we performed on Royal Albert Hall, and the place went absolutely berserk. We had never seen that reaction ever, and it's something in my mind I'll never ever forget. It's on a videotape somewhere up there, and I guess it was during the 70s here in the UK that I would love to one day go back and revisit at a different time, a different place.
I'm going to ask another silly question, but I'm a deeply unattractive man. You can see this, Merrill. What's it like being a sex symbol? Because it seems to me you caught the eye of most of the girls.
Well, you see, that's hard for me to get my arms around too, because I don't think I'm sexy. But you know, it's when I sing the love songs that I see it, because I'm the kind of person that look through somebody, and as I sing the Love Me For Reasons and the Let Me Ins and whatever it is, I look down there and I can see the emotional attachment, and it is somewhat overwhelming because I love people. You put that combined with what you're saying, it becomes sort of an interesting situation. But I'm honored. I mean, if someone thinks I'm sexy, then more power to you, baby.
I don't think there is any greater relationship between a star and its audience when that alchemy is there. Is that it's a feeling that you couldn't create. I mean, it's in the moment. It can happen one night, it can not happen the next. But when it happens, right, it's a beautiful feeling.
Yeah, you know, and again, going back to the conversation I had with Donnie, the first 5 minutes of the show is when you're going to know if you're okay. But the anticipation and walking on there and see the reaction of the crowd is really the dynamic.
So even now, do you worry that they might not quite like you?
Well, seriously, it's called pacing for me. I mean, if you have a paced show and it's going the way you believe it should be, everything is hunky-dory. But if things go wrong the first 5 minutes, then you're on your backup system. Mm-hmm. And I've been on there a few times. It's not fun.
Yeah, I interviewed Ken Dodd once, one of our greatest comedians, and he said an audience is like a Rottweiler that's growling at you. You've got to try and stroke it to calm it down, and if it smiles at you, you're fine. If not, it'll bite your hand off. And it's kind of true, isn't it?
It's so true. I couldn't think of a better way of putting it. But you know the thing about an old pro like him, he's always got a backup to a backup.
Right.
And that's one thing I think the Osmonds have learned over time, too. We have a backup for a backup. And you have to if you're going to be out there on that stage for an hour and a half.
If I can pay all of you a compliment, and I say this about all the brothers and Marie, is that I've never seen any people walk on stage with more ease. You make it look like it's your home. You make us feel relaxed. And I think that's the art, isn't it? If you're enjoying it, we're enjoying it. If you're having fun, hopefully we'll have fun.
That is exactly the truth. And those artists out there that might be listening to think that they might be able to have that opportunity, which I hope they do, remember what you just said. If you go on stage having fun and relax and enjoy the fact that you're there, everybody in that audience will feel the same way about it. And that's the secret, I think, to being a true performer.
And we move forward in 2017. To think that you're still on tour is brilliant, and you are. Let's give some tour dates and when we can see you and where we can see you.
Well, actually, I'm here for about 10 days now, just doing some promotional work for my June concert. So I'm going to be coming back in June with my own rock tour. I do tributes to a couple friends like Zeppelin and Elton John and a few things like that. But I'll also be doing all the hits. But I'll be doing some real rock stuff I've written. So, yeah, on my own. And then the brothers, of course, will be back here in October together for a tour. And then we'll be back here for Christmas. So we love it here. This is second home.
And we love you too. I hope you know how much we care about you and love you. You're part of our culture. You're part of our fabric of Britain. And we don't embrace many Americans, but when we do, we fall in love. And that audience tonight, again, just proves how much we care for you. You can find out more by going to your website. Just give us that.
Yeah, merrillosmond.com. Come see me.
Can't wait to see you. I'm going to come and see you in June as well. Thank you so much for your time. It's a great honor. And keep on keeping on, won't you?
Thank you, dear friends. And all of you out there, love you. Bye-bye.